Bellator Nation, follow us across a large array of digital platforms and stay up to date on everything you need to know. Like us on the Bellator Facebook page and see exclusive videos. Follow us and get instant updates on Twitter at Bellator MMA and get a chance to have your tweet live on the broadcast. See amazing pictures on Instagram at Bellator MMA. Join Bellator Nation today.
Prepare for impact. Hard-hitting Czech Kongo is on the hunt for a title shot.
There's the power!
When he squares off against seismic striker Sergey Kharitonov.
Oh, big shot!
Who's got the goods in this quest for heavyweight supremacy?
Brace for the impact.
Bellator MMA live tonight on Showtime, where warriors rule.
Sioux Falls, South Dakota is home to one of the teams in the Little League Baseball World Series. And tonight, it's home to Big League Mixed Martial Arts. For the first time in 3 years, Bellator MMA is back at Sanford Pentagon for Bellator 265. Coming up later tonight in the main event, live on Showtime, a guy who looks like he was chiseled out of South Dakota granite. Number 3 ranked heavyweight Czech Kongo squares off with Sergey Kharitonov. He is Big John McCarthy. I am Mauro Ranallo, and boy, we've got a plenty of experience coming your way in the Circle of Truth later tonight. Czech Kongo at 46, he still looks like he's in his 20s, but at 46, the oldest member of the Bellator MMA roster, holds the record for most fights and wins in Bellator heavyweight history. But he meets a guy in Sergey Kharitonov who is a proven finisher. 32 career wins, 30 of them have come inside the distance. Please set the table for our feature attraction.
You have to be so impressed with Czech Kongo at 46 years of age. The guy that he really reminds me of is a guy that was Randy Couture. We're talking about a guy that is, like you said, chiseled out of granite, still in great shape. 30 career wins. Sergey Kharitonov is the guy that he's got hammers in his hand. If he touches your chin, you are going to sleep. He's got big knees, a huge uppercut, but Kongo has found ways to keep himself from being damaged in fights, getting the fight where he wants it to be comfortable, and with that, he wins fights all the time.
Heavyweight careers tend to last a little longer, but heavyweight fights, they can end with one shot. And with more on tonight's main event, let's go to Gareth A. Davies.
Czech Kongo and Sergey Kharitonov meet tonight in a clash of powerful European heavyweights, with the Frenchman Kongo looking to maintain his position high in those heavyweight rankings. The 46-year-old fighting legend may have lost in Paris last October, but previous to that, other than the no contest to Ryan Bader for the heavyweight title, he had won 8 successive fights since 2015. The towering Parisian says his ambition is still to claim the heavyweight crown. Yes, his desire is undinted. Once known for his fearsome kicking game, Kongo has morphed into a different kind of fighter, a smarter fighter, we might say. And those cage smarts will be tested to the full tonight. The Russian has put one blemish on his record since 2016, and he returns to Bellator on the back of 2 straight victories in other fight leagues. But as we know in heavyweight MMA, one strike with those 4-ounce gloves can change the pattern of a fight. And tonight, it will be about momentum or just a simple mistake from either of the big men when that first bell tolls.
The poet laureate of combat sports pros, Gareth A. Davies, also tonight live on Showtime. A homecoming for South Dakota's Logan Storm Storley as he welcomes Dante Skiro to the Bellator MMA cage and welterweight action in more heavyweight competition. A battle of Bellator MMA newcomers. Marcelo Gol meets Billy Swanson, and undefeated Jornel Lugo will collide with Keith Killa Lee at a contract weight of 140 pounds. That's Bellator 265 live on Showtime at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. And we kick off the prelims with, well, we're closing the show with heavyweights. We're beginning the show with heavyweights. Bailey Schoenfelder and Corey Moegenburg meet in Bellator MMA, their first fights under the Bellator MMA banner.
And now, we welcome our first fighter for the prelims, Corey, the Monster Moegenburg.
Corey, the Monster Moegenburg is 29 years of age. He told us he was never really good at anything in life, but then he found mixed martial arts. He started to win, and it definitely changed him from a shy, timid kid to a confident man, and he loves all aspects of the fight game, and he really credits his trainer Josh Shepard for taking him under his wing and helping him to get to where he is today. Shepard, the head coach at Grace Place, fighting out of Ottumwa, Iowa.
Can you say that again, Ottumwa, Iowa? Look at Corey's got a lot of power in his hands. Purple belt in BJJ. He feels comfortable anywhere in the cage. We'll see how he does tonight.
Ottumwa, Iowa. You ask, you shall receive. And now we shall receive the dulcet tones.
And now, his opponent making his way to the cage, Bailey Berserk Schoenfelder.
And for the first time tonight, the crowd here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota is going berserk for Bailey Berserk Schoenfelder. Berserk from the feared Viking warriors. Schoenfelder is of Norwegian descent, and he appreciates the stories of Vikings and their warrior spirit. He anticipates a dogfight, a bloody battle. And speaking of Vikings, he wants to turn Corey the Monster into Corey the Red with his own blood, Big John.
Well, I'll tell you what, Corey Schoenfelder, very good wrestler, good athlete. Played D1 football for the Minnesota Gophers. We'll see how he does here tonight. Our tail tape for this opening heavyweight matchup. Take a look at that reach advantage that Bailey Schoenfelder has. 76 inches to 68.5. That's a huge difference. We'll see what Corey can do to maintain that and get inside.
One of the best live event announcers in the business. This is Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, as we get set now to kick off the Bellator 265 prelims, streaming live. Tonight, we thank those for joining us on YouTube at Showtime Sports and Bellator MMA as we get the night started now with 3 5-minute rounds in the heavyweight division. Introducing the blue corner. At 5'10", weighing in 214.8 pounds. His professional record early on stands at 1-2. He fights out of Ottumwa, Iowa. Corey, the Monster Moegenburg. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner at 6'3", weighing in 224 pounds even as a professional. Early on, he stands at 1-0. He fights out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, Bailey Berserk Schoenfelder. And the referee in charge, Bobby Wambacher.
The butterflies in the belly have to be the size of seagulls. Both Schoenfelder and Moegenburg making their respective Bellator MMA debuts. They want to impress the big boss man.
Bailey, are you ready? Let's get after it.
Round one, Schoenfelder in the red gloves, Moegenburg in the blue gloves, and no feeling out process as they immediately go on the attack.
And all, but Schoenfelder already throwing a big overhand right. He does have very good wrestling background. He was a state champion here in South Dakota as a high school senior. Everybody that knows him at Sanford has talked about the guy has got a gas tank for a big guy. He can hit hard and he can wrestle. Anytime you can wrestle, you can fight in MMA.
And he can check kicks, as he's done a couple of times, as Moegenburg trying to chop down the bigger Schoenfelder. As we mentioned, the main event, Kongo and Kharitonov with 62 combined wins, 48 finishes. We open with a heavyweight bout where we have 2 combined wins done. Different ends of the spectrum.
Schoenfelder needs to stop going back to that right hand. He keeps on throwing that looping right hand.
Minute gone, and Schoenfelder stapling Moegenburg with his right. Moegenburg looking for the takedown, gets shucked off. And it is Schoenfelder manhandling Moegenburg here in the first round.
Landing a lot of big hammer fists, a lot of heavy shots. Those are hurting right now.
A series of hammer fists. Oh, and another right hand that lands on the cranium of Moegenburg.
Bailey doing a great job of controlling his posture, keeping himself so he can land big heavy shots. Now brings it down into control.
A minute and a half gone in the first round. And it has been all Bailey Schoenfelder.
Right now he's got to have that arm gift wrap. He let it go.
Nasty knees to the back, and now from side control, it is all Schoenfelder.
Schoenfelder looking to trap that arm. You see him, he was trying to step over the knee. Now he's in half guard. Nice job by Corey Moegenburg to get him into that position. At least he's getting himself back where he can start to work from a guard position.
Moegenburg has never been submitted, but both of his losses have come via TKO. And he is carrying all of that pressure of Schoenfelder, controlling Schoenfelder's head, but Schoenfelder wanting to pop out, neutralizes the right arm.
There he is with that knee, that's where I was talking. You could see him looking for it before. He was in a Von Flue, but realized he wasn't in position to get that pressure right.
Man, if this keeps up, Moegenburg's going to be sicker than the Von Flue because he is taking a beating courtesy of Bailey Schoenfelder, midway point of the opening round. Schoenfelder 1-0 with 1 knockout, and that came in May of this year, and it came in the first round.
The one thing you can give Moegenburg right now, he's done a good job of upsetting the balance of Bailey when Bailey's been on top of him. Again, just did it right there, looking for a leg lock. Bailey just needs to keep his hip pressure forward, pick his shots.
Schoenfelder oozing confidence when it came to making a prediction. He predicted a first-round finish, and he's back in side control with less than 2 minutes remaining. Crucifix and feeding Moegenburg a series of left hands.
Feeding him a series left hand, not quite into a full crucifix, but he was trapping that arm with the knee. Very nice grappling positions by Bailey.
A minute and a half now remaining in the first round, and Corey the Monster
crucifix position, Morrow.
Yep, for a moment, not anymore. And Moegenburg may be nicknamed the Monster, but he has just met the monster under his bed, and it is real. Bailey Schoenfelder all over Corey Moegenburg.
Nice job by Bailey to move to full mount.
And he is posturing up. And some ground and pound.
Real trouble right now. You see those hips and those legs all on the ground.
Slashing elbows.
Position to be in.
Elbow smashes by Schoenfelder. Ground and pound. Referee giving Moegenburg every chance to escape, and he won't. Bailey Schoenfelder bags a first-round finish in his Bellator MMA debut. From a gridiron gladiator to a cage gladiator with Bellator MMA, it was all one-way traffic, John, but what did you like most about Schoenfelder's performance?
What I really liked out of Bailey Schoenfelder was when he finally got the fight to the ground position. He was moving himself into different positions on top, taking his time, landing big shots, and when he got to that, look at it, here's this started off. Big right hand, he landed that right hand multiple times. When he got to the back here, and you see him get to full mount, Started to go a little bit wild, slowed himself down, and then started landing big elbows. And elbows are something that are going to cause damage, and the referee is going to look at that much more closely than he does just the punch from the mount position. Those elbows are huge. You see the feet up in the air. That's a horrible position for Moegenburg to be in. Great job by Bailey Schoenfelder coming into the first big fight of his career. Only 20 seconds in his first fight. This one went a little bit longer, but he did a lot of damage for one round of fighting.
He says fighting is the essence of life, whether it's literally or figuratively. Everyone has a fight or a struggle, and it's what makes you feel alive. And this crowd here at Sanford Pentagon is alive, and they are in full-throat support of Bailey Schoenfelder from Huron, South Dakota. And Sioux Falls will have even more reason to celebrate. Their team at the Little League Baseball World Series just picked up a 2-0 victory. Congratulations, Sioux Falls. Congratulations, Bailey Schoenfelder. Let's make it official with Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, with just 49 seconds remaining in round number 1, it comes to a halt due to unanswered strikes. The winner by TKO and still undefeated Bailey Schoenfelder.
Schoenfelder delivering on his prediction of another first-round finish, 2-0, both wins coming in the opening round, but this one by far the biggest because it's happened under the bright lights of Bellator MMA. Let's go to BJM.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with your winner, Bailey Schoenfelder. Bailey, first off, congratulations on your first fight here in Bellator. That was an outstanding performance. Talk to me about walking into this cage, the pressure on you, performing in front of all of your hometown fans.
I mean, yeah, it's an awesome experience. We got so many people that came out here to watch me and everybody else from South Dakota. And, I mean, anytime you walk out of that tunnel, you get butterflies, so just had to keep my head. But, yeah, an awesome opportunity. Good to be back in Sioux Falls.
Coming out of Sanford MMA with all the guys that you get to train with, all of that experience there, what does that do for your confidence coming in here?
Oh, it's the biggest thing for my confidence. I trained with guys in the UFC, top guys in Bellator, and won. And just knowing that I can go with those guys in training, I can hang with them, that I can bring that into the cage, and whoever I'm going up against, I know it doesn't really match up. So.
What is it that you expect out of yourself now in your MMA career? Now you're 2-0, 2 first-round finishes. What is it that you expect?
I just expect myself to keep getting better every day and keep coming in here and doing what I do.
Sounds like you got the right thing in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, Bailey Schoenfelder.
Bailey Schoenfelder delivering the monster smash to Corey, the monster Moegenburg. A scintillating start to our night here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota for Bellator 265. And we'll have more prelims coming your way right after these.
Polarizing figure has silenced all his opponents. But his next test is his toughest.
Fighter selected, Tyron Woodley.
A combat sports legend with expert striking. Now, the fight critics said Jake Paul should never take
Jake Paul
is here. Who wants it more? Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley, Sunday, August 29th, live on pay-per-view.
The new Bellator MMA app is here. New look, new features, new fights. Watch live weigh-ins and prelims. Share your fight picks. Earn points and badges as you rank up to the heavyweight division. And stay up to date on events, rankings, and news. For all of the latest features, download the new Bellator MMA app. Available on the Apple Store and Google Play.
Prepare for impact.
Kongo's A.O.
Hard-hitting Czech Kongo is on the hunt for a title shot.
There's the power.
When he squares off against seismic striker Sergey Kharitonov.
Oh, big shot.
Who's got the goods in this quest for heavyweight supremacy?
Brace for the impact. Bellator MMA live tonight on Showtime, where warriors rule.
Coming up live on Showtime, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, Bellator 265. The headliner, heavyweights, Czech Kongo against Sergey Kharitonov. But the fans here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, coming out in full force for one of their own, Logan Storm Storley, who welcomes Dante Skiro to the Bellator MMA cage. With more on Storm Storley, let's go to Josh Thompson.
Thanks, Morrow. Logan Storley's making his return to his home state of South Dakota, where he was a 6-time state champ and a 4-time All-American at the University of Minnesota. The last time he came into this arena at the Pentagon, he set the crowd on fire. They were electric. I got to tell you right now, he had a dominant performance with his wrestling. He picked A.J. Matthews apart from top to bottom, and when he got to that top position, he laid down some vicious ground and pound. But I got to tell you right now, Dante Skiro said this: I can't wait to walk into a crowd of boos. So when they raise my hand, it'll feel even better. It'll feel even better when they get silent. So look, with more on this fight, though, I'm going to throw it back to Morrow.
All right, Mr. Reporter Josh Thompson. Good stuff, my man, JT, as we continue to roll along here at Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We will turn our attention to the middleweight division. Oh, my God, it's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson against Devin Fisher.
Ladies and gentlemen, ready to make his way to the cage, Devin Fisher.
I pledge allegiance to myself. Food, shelter, and health. Let me find
Devin Fisher looking to land a big one in his Bellator MMA debut, looking to bounce back from a setback against Deron Wynn in April of 2017. Big John McCarthy. Fisher finally making his way back to MMA competition. A 4-year layoff.
4-year layoff's a long layoff, but that's what fighting Deron Wynn will do for you, since Deron Wynn is just a fire hydrant of a fighter, a guy with an incredible wrestling background. You take a look, and I always say, if you're not all in, don't do this sport. This is 100% in or 100% out. You cannot do it halfway. Devin Fisher said he went back to the drawing board, went back to learning what he needed to do to be a better fighter, and he says that's what's going to walk in the cage today.
Well, when it comes to 100% all in, all of his wins have come inside the distance. All of his losses have come inside the distance.
This is true.
Devin Fisher with an opportunity to change his life. When you step into the Bellator MMA cage, regardless of the circumstances, you're getting an opportunity to try to prove that you belong.
It's an audition, especially when you're in the prelims and you're the first couple of fights. You got to figure that this is your chance to impress President Scott Coker and make him say, I want to see this guy fight again.
And now, set to make his way, Dwayne Johnson. Let's go!
So obviously, he's not that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, although he has challenged the most electrifying man in entertainment to a fight, saying, hey, there can only be one Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But all kidding aside, Johnson 5-2 with 3 knockouts, also making his Bellator MMA debut, and well, he would love to rock. It's a rolling like Dwayne Johnson has rocked the world of entertainment. What can you tell us about this good-looking physical specimen in Mr. Johnson?
Look at what Dwayne Johnson has been in this sport. He is a guy that is training with some of the very best that's ever been. He's been out of Black House MMA for a while. Now he's with Sanford. But you're talking about training with guys like Leota Machida, Anthony Smith, Jake Ellenberger, all of these killers out there that he has been in the training room with, and he has brought all of that experience into what he's doing now in the cage. His only 2 losses, a decision, split decision loss, unanimous decision loss. He finishes fights. He's the real thing, and if he did fight The Rock would be in trouble.
Uh-oh. He's predicted a knockout, or get this, a flying armbar, which of course reminds us of Judo legend Rumina Moonwolf Sato, who recorded one of the fastest submission wins in history with a flying armbar in January of 1999, 6 seconds against Charles Diaz. And here's another factoid for you. Rumina Sato in his professional MMA debut He defeated Michael McCullough with a calf slicer the first time the move had been used in mixed martial arts.
Look at you.
I'm sitting next to Big John McCarthy. I better know something.
The tape for this middleweight matchup. Take a look at the ages of 33 and 31. It's very close as far as experience across the board here. But Dwayne Johnson is the guy who says, I have been with the more experienced people, and that makes me better. We'll see if that's true.
What makes everything better is a little more Michael C. Williams.
To those joining us tonight from the UK on BBC iPlayer, we welcome you to the heartland here in the States as we continue now with the Bellator 265 prelims with 3 5-minute rounds in the middleweight division. Introducing the blue corner first at 5'11", weighing in 184.4 pounds with 4 professional victories to his credit. He fights out of Rapid City, South Dakota, Devin Fisher. And across the cage is adversary out of the red corner at 6 foot, weighing in 185.6 pounds as a professional. 5 wins, 2 losses, fighting out of Omaha, Nebraska, presenting Dwayne Johnson. In charge of the action, your referee, Jason Herzog.
It's time to see if we can smell what this Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is cooking as he and Devin Fisher get ready to get it on. You only have one chance to make a first impression in the Bellator MMA cage. The bell and round 1, the southpaw Johnson in the red gloves, Devin Fisher in the blue gloves, and immediately Johnson using his kicks.
See, just through those kicks, look at where he's already pushed Devin to. He's in a position now to have his back up against the cage, which means he can't move any farther back. That's going to help your range if you're Dwayne Johnson.
And Fisher comes back with a heavy kick and another body kick right under the armpit. There's a push kick by Johnson that pushes Fisher back to the fence.
Devin Fisher needs to start circling instead of going straight backwards.
Fisher with a knee to the midsection on the break. And Fisher told us that he felt his biggest advantage would be speed, changes levels, but gets his neck snatched by Johnson.
Nice switch over. Take a look at where he's going to. All the way in there. That's deep on that Darce.
Smooth Darce choke by Dwayne Johnson, and even Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has to be impressed what he just did.
Absolutely beautiful. What you really had to love is as soon as he snapped it down, he knew exactly where he was going to go, went to the Darce, put the pressure on. An outstanding finish by Dwayne Johnson.
And respect to Devin Fisher for showing, well, his respect to the man who was that much better tonight in Dwayne Johnson, making it look easy in his Bellator MMA debut, Big John.
This was after the snap down. Look at, he ratchets into that Darce position, closes it up, and grabs the leg. Now there's nowhere for Devin Fisher to go, and it's just a matter of pressure. He can't take that. He's going to go out. Nice job by Dwayne Johnson. Look at this. Takes. Nice snap down, pulls him down, and immediately decides where he's going to go with it. Switches into that ratchet position of the Darce, grabs on. Beautiful positioning, nice. Unbelievable transition from one element to the next, and then he gives the backflip.
Johnson fighting out of Omaha, Nebraska, the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett. He might want to invest in some Dwayne Johnson stock as he looked outstanding in his Bellator MMA debut.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Thank God, thanks all my sponsors.
Well, it wasn't a flying armbar, but it was a dynamic Darce choke, and that was Dwayne Johnson's first submission win. He improves to 6-2 with 3 knockouts, and now the Darce choke victory. Let's make it official with Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, it comes to an end. 1 minute, 4 seconds into round number 1. The tap by way of the Darce choke for the winner by submission, Dwayne Johnson.
And I know BJM is about to realize one of his fantasies. He gets to stand next to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with your winner, Dwayne Johnson. I always wanted to stand next to Dwayne Johnson, so this is an honor for me. I want you to know that.
He's the baddest Dwayne Johnson in the world right here.
That's what I want to hear. That was an outstanding performance, especially when you decided to get that snap down. You knew immediately. You went to the ratchet on that Darce, set it up, locked it in, grabbed the leg. Talk to me about that victory.
Man, I've been doing this for over 15 years, you know, and I know I could compete with all the, you know, the top 10 in the world. And it's time, you know, everybody starts learning who Dwayne Johnson is. It's my time. Thank God. Thank all my sponsors. Thank the fans. Thank you guys for coming out, all my family. You know, without you guys, I couldn't do this. You know, it's time to start climbing the ladder.
Let's talk about the years that you put in this and all the guys that you've trained with that have helped you get to this point where you can flow and transition so effortlessly inside this cage. What is working out with some of the top guys like Lyoto Machida do for your confidence stepping in here?
I mean, I've trained with a lot of good guys in this sport. You know, I have 20 amateur MMA fights, 15 amateur Muay Thai fights, 33 boxing fights. I was the top 10 in the nation as an amateur. You know, and man, I've been doing this a long time, and you know, I stayed amateur for too long, but you know, now I'm here as a pro, and it's time to start. You know, let's get it.
Sounds good to me. I want to congratulate you on a beautiful win. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson sticks the landing, sticks the victory in his Bellator MMA debut, and picks up his first career submission win, a first-round Darce choke. Coming up Saturday, September 18th, Mr. Wonderful Phil Davis welcomes Yoel Romero to the Bellator MMA cage as a soldier of God makes his long-awaited promotional debut in San Jose. It's a London calling Friday, October 1st, when Bellator returns to the UK for a welterweight showdown, where hometown superstar MVP Michael Venom Page seeks redemption against the only man to defeat him, former world champion Douglas Lima. The winner earns a shot at champion Yaroslav Amosov. Then it's fireworks in Phoenix when the Bellator Light Heavyweight World Grand Prix resumes Saturday, October 16th, as Arizona State legend Ryan Darth Vader squares off with Corey Anderson, and reigning world champion Vadim Nemkov defends the belt against Anthony Rumble Johnson. The winners will advance to the World Grand Prix Final. Finally, Bellator comes from Russia with glove, with a Moscow mega fight, when the GOAT Fedor Emelianenko welcomes Tim Johnson to his homeland for a heavyweight headliner. Saturday, October 23rd on Showtime. And coming up later tonight, live on Showtime, Bellator 265. It will culminate with a heavyweight showdown between the number 3 ranked Czech Kongo and Sergey Kharitonov, always a dangerous opponent. And with more on our main event, let's go back to Josh Thompson.
So we have Sergey Kharitonov versus Czech Kongo. The two of them are virtually identical, if I was to say. Both of them have great striking. Both of them have knockout power. Both of them have wrestling. Kharitonov is a sambo style of wrestling, and Kongo's is more of an American style of wrestling. So what you're going to see tonight is you're going to see Czech Kongo try to stay on the outside, stick and move. And when Kharitonov steps into that small space there, he's going to either try to get the takedown and drive him to the fence and get to that top position, because he loves to do some dirty work when he gets on top. Big ground and pound and fish his elbows. If he can do that, I think Kongo will have success tonight. Kharitonov's got to make sure he crushes that space, fights him inside a phone booth, uses his uppercut and his left hook that he's famous for, as well as his knees. If he can do that, he'll have a successful night. But hey, for more on the heavyweights though, let's throw it back to Big John and Mo.
Thanks a lot, Josh. And John, obviously the fight will start on the feet. These two at this stage of the career, well versed in all facets of mixed martial arts. But you look at Sergey Kharitonov, a master of sport in boxing, has done professional boxing, really showcased what he was capable of as a boxer in the early days of his career with Pride Fighting Championships. With Czech Kongo, he's a Thai fighter, background in the Muay Thai style of fighting. taking all of that into account, who do you expect to be the most dynamic striker in our main event tonight?
I'm telling you right now, I think that the dynamic striker is Sergey. Now, he's not dynamic in that he does a lot of fancy types of attacks, but what he does is basic, and he's very good at it. And his, like Josh is saying, like I said before, his uppercut is well-timed and accurate. His left hook is vicious, and then he grabs into either a single collar or a double collar Muay Thai plum and brings the knees. He is a very strong individual. But check Kongo with that Muay Thai background. He's the guy that you're looking at and saying, well, he's going to be a great striker too. He's a good striker, but he's a great grappler. And when it gets into a clinch, he understands how to use his weight, how to put pressure, and make his opponent work to the point that they're gassing themselves out, and then he just takes them down, and he uses a great ground and pound and gets his win.
Kongo and Kharitonov have combined for 62 career wins, 48 finishes. It's the main event of Bellator 265 coming up later tonight live on Showtime as we continue with the prelims here at Sanford Pentagon. Action in the welterweight division. Archie Colgan will clash with Ben Simons.
And now we welcome to the cage Ben Simons.
An accountant for a Fargo, North Dakota area trucking company, Simons is going from crunching numbers to trying to crunch his opponent in this, his Bellator MMA debut, which he took on 4 days' notice.
Yeah, and it's funny that he did that because he hadn't fought in a while, and he said, you know, I haven't fought because I was just waiting for that opportunity. I didn't want to continue on with what I was doing. 5-2 as a pro. This is a guy who really believes that his skill set, both in the grappling arts and in the stand-up, can be something that is going to give his opponent trouble. His opponent's got a lot of wrestling. He believes that that wrestling is not going to be good enough to get him in bad positions. He can take the fight to the ground, and we'll see if his predictions come true.
Yeah, 3 of his 5 fights have proven to be victories and 2 submissions on his resume. 1 rear naked choke, 1 arm triangle choke, but he has also lost via guillotine choke in the Fargo, North Dakota native. Well, he wants to make his opponent feel like he's being put in a wood chipper. Yes, Big John, that is a Fargo film reference.
And now set to make his way, Archie Colgan.
Is it too soon to start calling him Archie Hulk Colgan? He's 26, he's 2-0 with a knockout and an arm triangle, so he is definitely feeling it so far in his MMA career. Wrestled in college for the University of Wyoming, where he was a junior freestyle national champion, a Big 12 conference champ, a 2-time NCAA qualifier, and a 4-year starter with 114 career wins. Tell us a little more about Archie Colgan.
Well, that's exactly what you're saying. Wrestle, wrestle, wrestle. That's what he does, but he also uses a very vicious ground and pound when he takes his opponent down to the ground. He is a guy that understands that, you know what, you've got to be dynamic. He's been working with Jake Ramos in his boxing area. Jake is a guy that is trainer to a lot of outstanding guys from the Genesis Training Center. He believes in this young man, so if he believes in it, I believe that this is going to be a very good fight.
And we all believe in DMX. Rest in paradise. Archie Colgan and Ben Simons ready to do battle in the Bellator MMA welterweight division.
Our tail of tape for this welterweight matchup. Look at Ben Simons with a 75-inch reach compared to 69.5. That's 5.5 inches. But since Archie's the wrestler, I don't think it's going to make a difference in this one.
His name is Michael C. Williams. He is the Bellator MMA cage announcer.
Tonight here at the Sanford Pentagon, we go now to the welterweight division set for 3 5-minute rounds. Introducing the blue corner, At 6'1", weighing in 170.4 pounds. His professional record, 3 wins, 2 losses. He fights out of Fargo by way of Enderlin, North Dakota, presenting Smilin' Ben Simons. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner at 5'9", weighing in 169 pounds even. As a professional, he's undefeated at 2-0. He fights out of Denver, Colorado, Archie Colgan. In charge, your referee, Mike Beltran.
I wonder what Smilin' Sam Alvey thinks about Smilin' Ben Simons, as Simons hopes to be smiling at the end of his Bellator MMA debut. Archie Colgan will try to wipe the smile off his face.
All right, gentlemen, first round. You ready to fight? You ready to fight? Hell, let's go.
Bell, round 1, Colgan in the red gloves, Simons in the blue, and immediately Colgan takes the center of the cage. What are you looking for early in this contest, John?
Well, I'm looking for Archie to take the smile off of Ben's face, but this is what I'm looking for from Archie. Is he just wants to push him to the point where Ben can't back up anymore, and then he's going to change levels eventually in here. He'll throw a big right hand, and there you go. Changes levels right into it.
Big takedown.
That's the type of takedowns that makes Archie who he is.
Yeah, that's the kind of takedowns that makes him a, well, champion in wrestling.
There you go.
And he thinks one of his greatest strengths is his composure while he is in the cage. He believes that he is best at putting pressure on people and staying aggressive, kind of like what we're trying to see, or what we're seeing here.
And it's exactly what you're seeing when you look at the lace of the hand. That left arm of Ben's is now trapped. You see Archie's got it behind his back. Now he's got it free. But that is what made Ben have to think about getting himself back up and putting his back to the canvas where Archie wanted.
Simons active from his back, throwing upright hands with little effect, but trying to keep Colgan off him. And now Archie Colgan trying to find a way to dive back in, maybe like a Fedor Emelianenko or Mauricio Shogun Hua back in the day.
No one did it like Mauricio.
And there is the Colgan version as he manages to land 2 big right hands before going back into the half guard.
And right there, you see that wrestling experience with his base and balance. Got a little bit high, sat himself back, brought his legs out to bring some hip pressure down. Right now, Archie Colgan is nice and composed. Good job by Ben Simmons getting back to a full guard, and he keeps on landing good elbows from the bottom.
Simons, an athlete who played football, wrestled, also competed in track and field in high school, looking for the up kick.
That one landed. Not a lot of power to it, but it touched it.
And again, Colgan on the attack. Looking to take Simons back. Fishing for that choke, but well defended by Simons.
Also, we talk about position before submission. He's not in a great position to look for that rear naked choke right now. He just needs to think about get to the positions that will give you that opportunity. Now this is a nice position by Archie Colgan. Do a lot of damage right here. You see Ben trying to crush that posture of his by grabbing the head.
Colgan is fighting like a guy who is expecting his first child, a baby boy, September 17th. Hyper-aggressive here in the opening round.
Full mount now.
And some nasty elbows from top position.
Very nice elbows from the top position. Now just putting a little bit of pressure, a little shoulder pressure on him.
And his lone submission has come via arm triangle choke.
You figure with the guys that Archie has been training with, guys like Justin Gaethje, Kamaru Usman, Grant Neal, Brandon Gertz, he's got a lot of experience in these positions, and he's had guys talking about what works best.
Absolutely. I mean, some high-level training. I think there was a
right now, what Ben Simmons is looking for, he's looking for a buggy choke. This is a choke from. Beautiful job. There was pressure on that choke.
And now there's pressure on the face of Simons. Ground and pound. Colgan making Simons a bloody mess. Archie Colgan crushes Ben Simon's dreams, and Simon's Bellator MMA debut. Take us back to the type of choke that Simons was going for and what cost him dearly.
It did cost him, and that was a very smart maneuver by Archie Colgan, because what Ben Simons was looking for is what we call a buggy choke. It is a choke when someone gets into side control on you. It is not a common choke. Many people could not pull that off, but he was getting his leg in it, and the pressure was starting. Archie Colgan quickly stands up and brings a huge slam. And look, when we talk to people all the time about what makes MMA violent, this being picked up and dropped down, that was a huge slam. Look at how the legs come out, the arm lets go of it. He's in trouble right there. That hurt. And then huge elbows by Archie. This just was beautiful work by him.
After that display, maybe it should be Hulk Hogan. This guy's a force.
Nah, look at that. Just look at you. All that comes with years of experience. Beautiful positioning, way to understand your body positioning. Swings around the back and continues those huge elbow strikes.
And it's nice to see a fighter who was honest. He said his greatest strength as a fighter is composure, and he showed that here in his, well, systematic dissecting of Simons.
Yeah, he just absolutely, from that slam, he saw that he hurt his opponent, and he went after it. You got to like that finish.
There's a price to pay when you work some dumb shit like that. Don't do that.
There is a price to pay, and Ben Simons paid it in full. Here once again is Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, inside the Bellator cage, referee Mike Beltran steps in, waves off the contest due to unanswered strikes. Your official time, 4 minutes, 4 seconds into round number 1. The winner by TKO, still undefeated, Archie Colgan.
Respect to Ben Simons for going a submission I've never seen in an MMA cage or ring, but the victory goes to Archie Colgan, and we will get more from the winner with Big John McCarthy.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, I am here with your winner, Archie Colgan. You put on a performance. You used your hands to change levels, get the fight to the ground. You never really let him out of that position, but we're going to talk about when you went to side control. He pulled off what we call a buggy choke. How much pressure were you feeling at that time?
I wasn't really feeling any pressure, but actually what was going through my head was I've seen somebody at a UFC fight or something get choked out from there, and I was like, this isn't safe exactly. So let's mount up and then get out of this however we can. And he wasn't fighting when I lifted him, so I was like, let's land him.
Well, let's talk about the way that you decided to get out of that, because you elevated him up to about 5.5 feet off of the ground and then dropped him down, and the impact absolutely hurt him. And it was so impressive was your ability to see that and go after the finish from that point.
Yeah, I lifted him and slammed him, and I just felt him kind of relax and, like, maybe not relax, but like he broke down a little bit. So then I pulled my arms out and I started dropping elbows and punches and saw the blood, and I was like, this is it, he's done. On him.
You came in with a really extensive wrestling background, but your hands are starting to really look good. What is it that you've been doing with, like, Coach Ramos there that has made you feel so confident in the stand-up?
Well, honestly, it's just repetition. I show up to practice every day. I'm always busting my ass. And when these guys say something, I listen with full intent. And it might not work today, but I'll keep working it tomorrow, next week, next month. And next thing you know, I got hands.
Well, whatever you're doing is working. That was a beautiful win. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Archie Colgan.
Archie Colgan improves to 3-0. An impressive victory in his Bellator MMA debut. More Bellator 265 prelim action is coming your way. Stick with us.
amazing figure has silenced all his opponents.
The rumors that you heard is true.
But his next test is his toughest.
Fighter selected, Tyron Woodley.
A combat sports legend with expert striking. Now, the fight critics said Jake Paul should never take
Jake Paul
is here. Who wants it more? Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley, Sunday, August 29th, live on pay-per-view.
The new Bellator MMA app is here. New look, new features, new fights. Watch live weigh-ins and prelims. Share your fight picks. Earn points and badges as you rank up to the heavyweight division. And stay up to date on events, rankings, and news. For all of the latest features, download the new Bellator MMA app. Available on the Apple Store and Google Play.
Prepare for impact. Kongo KO! Hard-hitting Czech Kongo is on the hunt for a title shot. There's the power! When he squares off against seismic striker Sergey Kharitonov. Oh, big shot! Who's got the goods in this quest for heavyweight supremacy?
Brace for the impact.
Bellator MMA live tonight on Showtime, where warriors rule.
Hey, you can catch up on past fights 24/7 now on our Bellator Pluto TV channel. No passwords, no payments. Just drop in and enjoy the show. Available now on your favorite devices. Look for us in the sports category. And you are looking at us right here, right now. We're joined by Josh Thompson, Big John McCarthy, Mauro Ranallo, and we're going to kick off Bellator 265 coming up at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on Showtime with a contract weight 140-pound matchup between the undefeated Jornel Lugo and Killa Keith Lee. And John, I'll start with you. When you first heard about this matchup being put together, what were your first impressions?
My first impression was, I love it. And I love it because I think Jornel Lugo is a fantastic young fighter. When I see a fighter like Jornel Lugo with such a high fight IQ, he understands all the elements that it takes to be a great fighter. But Keith Lee is an animal. He is athletic, he is strong, and he's a guy that's grown up with it based upon his brother. He's young too, 25 years of age, 24 years of age, and both of these guys are just dynamic in their actions. I think this is a phenomenal matchup.
All right, Josh, what about Killa Keith Lee? Talk about his path to victory in our opener. What do you expect him to do in order to pick up the win?
Well, real quick, before we jump to Keith Lee, Jornel Lugo was 6-1 as an amateur. He's 6-0 as a professional. He's a top talent. But the thing is he's never really faced anyone with the type of athleticism that Keith Lee has. He had one fight with someone that was just as athletic as him, and it ended up being a split decision win in his favor. So him coming out and having to fight someone who stylistically is very close to him, I think poses big problems. Now, I know John doesn't agree with me because that's what John likes to do. John likes to disagree with me. But when it comes down to it, Keith Lee has all the tools and the pedigree to get it done. And I'm telling you right now, the speed on the hands, they're going to be about equal in speed when it comes to the stand-up. But I think Keith Lee is the better stand-up striker, okay? And also with the wrestling. Now, Keith Lee may not be a top-level wrestler, but his takedown defense is some of the top in the division. So can Jornel Lugo get him down and hold him down? Guys like Sean Butch, who were Olympic alternates, weren't able to do that. How is Jornel Lugo going to handle that when he can't get the fight to the ground? So there's a lot of questions to be answered. But I got to tell you right now, this is the one thing that really sticks with me. Both of them know there's been a lot of buzz about this Bantamweight World Grand Prix by Bellator, and they're both going to need to get a win. Only one of them can, to try to get into that tournament. And so there's a lot of pressure, I think, on both of them to see who can walk out with the W tonight.
I feel like I'm a referee on the Weighing In podcast with Big John McCarthy and Josh Thompson. But, John, talk a little bit more, maybe not necessarily about the X's and O's. We'll have plenty of time for that. What about the intangibles? We always talk about the mental aspect of MMA. Keith Lee, Jornel Lugo.
I'm going to tell you right now, the one thing, if you talk about the mental aspect that you can look at from his last fight, is Keith Lee fought Rafion Stotts. And in that fight, I look and I always say, how mentally tough is an individual? And he showed in that fight because he did everything that he could possibly do in that fight, and it didn't go his way. He gave it all, and that's what you're looking for. So you know the heart there, you know there's skill there. The big difference for me is Jordanel Lugo has got the ability to change the fight in the middle of the fight. He understands when things aren't working for him, and he knows how to change that. That makes him dangerous too. Just like Josh is saying, both of these guys are exceptional young fighters. Both want that spot in that bantamweight Grand Prix, and both of them deserve this fight here tonight.
Speaking of exceptional young fighters, Raufeon Stots, his win over Magomed Magomedov, one of the most impressive victories of the year here in Bellator MMA. And Josh, as we look at our opening contest, but you look at Raufeon Stots and what he was able to do against Magomed Magomedov, what are some of the aspects of the intangibles that we talk about? You've been in the cage. Talk about mental preparation, especially when you open up the show.
Yeah, but look, with Raufeon Stots, there's no exception. He's a phenomenal fighter. He's well-rounded. He was able to do what he needed to do against Magomed Magomedov. But Keith Lee's been in the cage with him. He's been able to touch him. He's been able to push him. He realized a lot about himself, that he could hang with some of the top guys. Look, it really just comes down to Jordanel Lugo has not faced the level of competition that Keith Lee has. And Keith Lee's going to have to be able to push the pace on Jordanel Lugo and make sure that he start making him make mistakes. If he can do that, I think Keith Lee will have a successful night. But I'm not sleeping on Jordanel Lugo either. He's got a lot of talent. There's a lot of hype around him. He's ranked number 8 now in the new ranking systems from this week. So there's a lot of pressure on him as well, because he knows he's got to get the win to get in that. If the bantamweight tournament does come about, he's got to get this win to get into that tournament.
And Jordanel Lugo has yet to taste defeat. Look forward to hearing more from you, Josh, throughout the night. Still to come, 2 more prelims before we go to Bellator 265, live at 9, 6 Pacific on Showtime.
Bellator Nation, follow us across a large array of digital platforms and stay up to date on everything you need to know. Like us on the Bellator Facebook page and see exclusive videos. Follow us and get instant updates on Twitter at Bellator MMA and get a chance to have your tweet live on the broadcast. See amazing pictures on Instagram at Bellator MMA. Join Bellator Nation today.
Prepare for impact. Hard-hitting Czech Kongo is on the hunt for a title shot.
There's the power!
When he squares off against seismic striker Sergey Kharitonov.
Oh, big shot!
Who's got the goods in this quest for heavyweight supremacy?
Brace for the impact.
Bellator MMA live tonight on Showtime, where warriors rule.
The name says it all. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, home of Bellator mixed martial arts, in the words of, well, the spiritual godfather of MMA, Bruce Lee, be like water. And we are back in Sanford, Pentagon, as we get set for action in the Bellator MMA lightweight division. Mike Hamill and Bryce Logan. Somebody's O in the win column's got to go. They're both looking for their first Bellator MMA victory.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome Bryce Logan.
Logan fighting out of Phoenix, Arizona by way of Dolan, South Dakota. Hey, it's my first time here. My apologies. He's won 3 of his last 4 fights, played college football at Dakota State University, and, well, still looking for his first Bellator MMA win. Lost a split decision to Georgi Karahanian at Bellator 255 last November. Johnny said he was able to get his striking going, but he was too accepting of positions and takedowns against the cage in that fight.
I think he's absolutely right, and what he needs to do is understand when those things occur, he cannot wait, and that wait can end up costing you the fight, and that's what it did. but one judge actually had him winning it. But one thing I will tell you, look, he's strong, agile, a very good athlete, and if he gets in the top position, Mauro, he is very dangerous from the top.
He is excited to fight back in his home state, and obviously, as you've just heard, the fans are excited to have him back.
And now making his way to the cage, Magic Mike Hamill.
Mike Hamill turned 29 on August 12th in his physical prime, and he says he is primed to finally pick up his first victory inside the Bellator MMA cage. But man, he's faced the Sharks in the Shark Tank.
I love Mike Hamill because Mike Hamill comes to fight. His first fight here in Bellator on 4 days' notice took on Adam Borich and put on a great performance. It was a split decision. Unbelievable fight for Mike Hamill. And then his second fight was against a killer named Nurmagomedov, Usman Nurmagomedov. Mike Hamill did everything he could trying to get inside on Nurmagomedov. It just didn't work for him. But again, fought his butt off. Love to watch this man fight.
Hamill started wrestling at 4, became an All-American at Grand Canyon University. And he comes from a family of University of Wyoming wrestlers, including he and his dad, who is in the school's Hall of Fame.
Our tail of the tape for this lightweight matchup, 5'9" to 5'9". Just look, you take a look at everything. It's all so close. Both of these guys are fun to watch. This should be something special.
Well, man, is always fun to listen to is Michael C. Williams.
For those still with us tonight in the UK, late night on BBC iPlayer, we thank you once again for joining us here at the Bellator 265 prelims as we go now to 3 5-minute rounds in the lightweight division. Introducing the blue corner at 5'9", weighing in 155.8 pounds. His professional record, 12 wins, 5 losses. He fights out of Scottsdale, Arizona, by way of Dolan, South Dakota. Introducing Logan. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner at 5'9", weighing in 155.4 pounds. As a professional, 7 victories, 5 defeats by way of Green River, Wyoming. He fights out of Phoenix, Arizona, Magic Mike Hamill. In charge, your referee, Bobby Wambacher.
You want to know who Mike Hamill is? He says he's just a blue-collar guy with a smoking hot wife and 2 cute pups. That is a quote. Meanwhile, Logan wants to show that he belongs at the top of Bellator's lightweight division with an exciting fight and finish. And the fight begins. Logan, the southpaw, in the red gloves. Mike Hamill, or excuse me, yes. It's Bryce Logan in the blue gloves, Mike Hamill in the red.
Well, Bryce Logan wants an exciting fight. He's got the guy that will help him bring that, because Mike Hamill is non-stop, as you can see right now, already going for the back.
Take your time.
Bryce Logan just needs to relax, take his time as far as working his way through the position, use that cage as a balance point that'll help him from ending up in a position where he's on the mat.
Hamill says that this is the start of a mean streak in the lightweight division, as Logan able to escape, resets. The southpaw Hamill bouncing up and down, eats the jab from the orthodox Logan. Flying knee attempt by Hamill.
This is what I love about Mike Hamill. Flying knee attempt right in to change the level, back into having him against the cage. He's got his back. But Bryce Logan's not in a bad spot right now. Again, just needs to take his time, work your way through the position, break the hands down just like he's doing.
When we asked Logan about Hamill, he said he has an unorthodox striking style, and he uses it to set up his takedowns, and we've seen that. His wrestling is definitely his best asset, But Logan said that Hamill appeared to be one-dimensional in his striking attacks.
I don't know if he's one-dimensional. He goes, and you can see just by the flying knee attempts.
That's right. And he said he was an unorthodox striker.
He's dangerous because he will take chances. When a guy will take chances against you, kick to the body, Hamill uses it.
And the takedown secured by Hamill again, a All-American at Grand Canyon University. He's been wrestling since the age of 4. He just turned 29 earlier this month.
He's doing a good job of at least trying to control the arm, especially that left arm right now, Bryce Logan. But he still only has one hook. That's allowing Bryce Logan to turn and use the fence to kind of be a cheese grater and just move him off the angle.
Hamill is 7-5 with 3 knockouts. Has never submitted an opponent.
Right now you see Hamill is controlling the right arm of Bryce Logan with his left arm. Sometimes that's a very frustrating thing when you're Bryce Logan because that glove acts like a stopper and it's very difficult to get your opponent's hand off it. Nice knee inside by Mike Hamill.
Hamill creates distance. Trying to telegraph the knee and then got countered upstairs by Logan.
But again, look at the amount of pressure that Mike Hamill is bringing. This is exhausting if you're Bryce Logan because he doesn't give you a chance to get any air. Everything that you're doing, he's there in your face and you've got to deal with it.
And again, level change by Hamill, looking for the takedown, gets it again.
Logan Pretty, good job of Logan to let go of the head. He was getting himself where he was going to be put into a von Flue. Decided I can't leave my arm there, got rid of it.
Minute and a half left in the first round. Hamill 4 for 4 in takedowns.
Take a few seconds, and that's right. Roll it. You gotta drive it.
Right now, everything that Mike Hamill is doing, he's connecting. I would say that he's almost landed every strike that he's thrown. All the takedowns, everyone he's attempted have worked. He's just dominating this fight right now with pressure, relentless pressure, and great technique.
Hamill said that his pace and forward movement would be tough for Logan to deal with, and we are witnessing that firsthand here in the first round. 45 seconds left.
And you just look at what you saw out of Mike Hamill right there. He tried to time that get up by Bryce Logan so he could time the knee. He's thinking the entire time. Very smart fighting.
Big advantage for Hamill in terms of total strikes landed in this first round, 14-3.
Really what you're looking at is not only look at that, look at the percentages. He's way over 50%. He was at almost 64% of everything he's thrown.
Head kick lands by Hamill, and if you're at 50% or more connecting, you're having a good night of the office.
Yes, you are.
So a terrific start from Mike Hamill, looking to snap a 2-fight losing streak.
Feet on that ice. Hey, catch your breath. That's all he's got, and he's gonna bring, right? We knew that. He's just gonna wrestle there. He's scoring no points though, all right? He's just getting those takedowns. Hey, look at me. We're loading up the right hand. Yep. Just be fast. We're shooting at it. It's gotta be that uppercut. Got it. Okay? Hey, work hard here moving your feet. 5 minutes of your feet moving, and then we're gonna keep scoring, okay? Take a lift. Yep. Keep mixing our feints in there, and just be fast for combinations, okay? I'll work.
Some of the action from the first round, Mike Hamill coming in. Logan lands a little bit with the forearm on that. That was one of the better shots that he actually landed in that round. Here comes the level change, takedown by Mike Hamill. And then bringing nice kick up towards the head. You see, it touches. Everything that Mike Hamill was doing was working for him in that first round.
Over here for me, Mike.
The bait and switch by Hamill, leaving that right hand up and boom, going for the level change and the takedown to full effect in the bell in round 2, and immediately the pressure's on again. And in Bryce Bryce Logan's corner, you heard from Bellator MMA vet Dan Moret as Hamill again looks for the takedown. Logan doing his best to defend.
Yeah, Dan Moret, who had a fantastic Bellator debut against Koichi Yamauchi, put on a beautiful performance.
Double jab, working outside. No, not straight in.
Thus far, a beautiful performance from Mike Hamill as he realizes, despite the fact that, taking fights on short notices, facing off with the deep end of the talent pool, you got to register the W, John.
Yeah, you do. There's no doubt about that. One of the things that Dan Moret was telling Bryce Logan is, look, you got to move your feet. And now he's trying to move his feet, but he's not moving in a position that's making Mike Hamill actually have to fight off his back foot. Right now, it's Bryce that's fighting off that back foot, and he's not being offensive because of it.
And it's, again, you can almost see it on his face, the fact that the pressure is making him overthink. It's making him think it at a speed he doesn't want to.
And a huge left hand right there from Mike Hamill.
Beautiful right hand there again by Logan. And that's what it is, right? You have to learn to become comfortable with being uncomfortable.
It is, and sometimes you just got to work through these problems. It's a chess match, and all of a sudden, you figure out what your opponent's doing, how you're going to stop it, and you just have to start implementing that plan. Right now, Mike Hamill's the guy. He is the lead. He's the guy leading this dance. He's the one dictating what's going to happen. Bryce Logan is just trying to figure out, what do I need to do to stop this guy's pressure?
And noted MMA trainer John Crouch, who's worked with the likes of Benson Henderson, helping out Mike Hamill. And Hamill again looking for the takedown. He is 4 of 6, but looking for his 5th. And he secures it and immediately secures the back of Logan.
It's the backing, but again, only one hook. You see Logan trying to push that leg off. Nice job by Bryce Logan. Very smart fighting. He's got you see him pushing that, keeping that leg with his left hand. He's keeping that leg from getting that hook position. Nice job by Bryce.
Hamill went from attempting to get his degree to become an elementary school teacher to, well, dishing out lessons in pain, especially tonight on Bryce Logan.
He's giving lessons on how to land knees because he's bringing those knees into the legs and then up to the head at times. Mike Hamill is feeling very good in the Bellator cage right now.
Something tells me Mike Hamill would be a very intensive teacher. Very intense.
Might push the pace on him.
Well, he's doing it here tonight against Bryce Logan. 2 minutes left in the second round. Very fluid, very loose. Mike Hamill sticking to the game plan, and it's proving to be effective and really getting Logan to commit, trying to get him to commit so he can change levels and go for another take.
Yes, he is. And again, look at what Logan is doing. He's waiting because he's so intent on landing one big strike here to stop what Mike Hamill's doing.
And he's southpaw now as well. Back to orthodox. A minute and a half left in the second. The pressure continues from Hamill. Logan trying to find a way to get on track, trying to find a way to slow down, to evade the pressure.
At least he's coming forward now. He's starting to at least be the guy but you see how he's overreacting to the feints. That overreaction is going to lead to him eating a big shot. He needs to just be calm and relaxed. That was a nice...
That left hook by Bryce Logan, and Hamill's hands were low, and he ate it.
Almost just a straight left. A beautiful shot by Bryce Logan. It definitely hurt Hamill, no doubt about it.
And we mentioned Logan overreacting. He reacted perfectly to that counter.
Yeah, that was just a straight left hand, just down the pipe. More of a jab, but a set-up jab. It landed flush.
And Logan beginning to come forward, as you mentioned, Big John. So the tide could be turning with 15 seconds left in the second. This sets up what should be a terrific third round between Mike Hamill and Bryce Logan, both looking to get off the schneid in Bellator MMA.
Definite changing of the pace and structure of the fight. Let's take a look at some of the action that occurred in that round. This was Hamill with that big left hand I talked about. That was a nice shot. Pushing Bryce Logan back, but here's that left, straight bip, right on the cheek area. Off balance a little bit, but that definitely stung, and it had an effect on Mike Hamill, because from that point, he was not coming forward with the same intensity. That hurt him, you could see it.
And Logan picked up the intensity.
No doubt about it.
Fucking hard, okay? Hey, he's tired as you are, Michael. You need to
How do you have it heading into the third and final round?
Now, I'm telling you right now, Mike Hamill was the one winning that. I had the first round for Mike Hamill, no doubt. I had Mike Hamill winning that, but when Bryce Logan landed that left hand, everything changed. And that was the most impactful shot or strike of the round. I'm going to say that Bryce Logan stole that round with that little bit at the end. I think we might be even.
Come on, are you ready? Bryce, are you ready? Mike, are you ready? Let's get after it.
5 minutes or less left in this prelim matchup in the Bellator MMA lightweight division. Mike Hamill in the red gloves out of the southpaw stance. Bryce Logan in the blue gloves. Hamill searching for a takedown, changing levels, but Logan is on top of it.
Well, he's also a little bit more slippery now. That sweat is set in. It's not as easy to get your hands to stick. Take a look at those. This is from round 2, 16 to 39, 11 to 27. Very close to the percentage, a little bit more output, but the biggest strike was Logan.
And Logan just landed another one of those lightning quick left hands on the retreat that snapped Hamill's face. And we talk about the pace that Hamill set. A lot of energy being expended. Still trying to maintain that pace, still trying to come forward, but Logan now picking him off.
That was a beautiful right hand off the counter right there by Bryce Logan. Bryce keeps on feigning that uppercut. He's trying to make Mike Hamill think about taking that shot, because when the shot comes, he's saying, I'm going to hit you with an uppercut. That's why Mike Hamill's being a little bit more respectful on taking those wrestling takedowns and shooting in.
Being stymied in the takedown attempts. He's now 5 of 10. And Logan using lateral movement now, coming forward and darting out at an angle.
Very good. We talked, Dan Brent was talking, you got to move your feet. Well, that's what Bryce Logan is doing right now.
And Logan continues, well, stuffing the takedown, but Hamill, tenacious, didn't stuff that one. But what is he going to do with it?
That's it. We'll see what he does. Right now, he's trying to lace those legs, trying to figure forward. Logan moves. That was a nice move by Logan. He's giving it back, but he was going to have his legs in a bad position. He just needs to start working himself back to his feet.
Position, keep on his head.
Nice defense, nice smart fighting, and nice use of the cage by Bryce Logan.
Logan escapes. In 2 minutes, 35 seconds remaining in the final round. They're in the center of the cage. There's a jab that lands for Hamill.
A little bit of back and forth in this round. Logan came out very strong. Hamill's having just a little bit of issues with what he's doing.
High left hand by Logan, but
Hamill came back.
Hamill rolled a bit with that punch. There's a counter. Right hook by the southpaw, and again the right hand right down the middle by Logan. Both have thrown nearly the same amount of punches.
Nice knee inside by Mike Hamill. He timed that well as Logan was coming in. Brought the knee up. Logan ran right into it.
Hamill has the slight edge in total punches landed. In terms of total strikes landed, it is also Hamill in the lead right now throughout the fight, but of course, adjudicated round by round as we pass. We're into the final minute and a half of this fight.
Nice right hand to the body by Bryce Logan. But he needs to follow that up, not make it just a single.
switching stances throughout the fight. A minute left in this lightweight encounter.
Right now, it's coming down to a matter of heart. Both guys are tired. Both of them have heavy arms, but both of them need to just go for it. Let it go. Nice kick to the body.
By Logan as both looking to end their two-fight losing streaks here in Bellator MMA, fighting like two guys desperate to get their first victory.
Mike Hamill has found a home for that right hand. Keeps on bringing the right hook over the top and keeps landing.
Hamill 7-5 overall. Logan 12-5, and with 20 seconds left, both of them are looking to land that money shot.
Nice. Right hand right there.
So the crowd enjoying the action, and maybe fittingly, they're going to the judges. Good fight.
It was a great fight. We talked about this. We said it was an even matchup. These guys proved that fact. They both went after it. Great performance by both Mike Hamill and Bryce Logan.
And if you were one of the three judges,
I don't want to be one of those judges.
You don't want to be, do you?
I think Mike Hamill might be the guy that slips away with this only based upon the amount of volume and action that he put forward. I thought Logan actually landed some really clean shots. Right there on the chin by Bryce Logan, but also on the side of the jaw by Mike Hamill. Both of them trying to counter and time their opponent. Beautiful straight right hand right there. That's what Bryce Logan started doing in the second round. You see that he comes with the body kick after. Just a little bit cleaner. Neither one was really successful with landing a clean shot on that one, but both guys just put on one heck of a performance.
Logan 3-1 in his last 4 fights, while Hamill again coming off back-to-back defeats, one via split decision to Adam Boric, his last fight a unanimous decision to Usman Nurmagomedov, but he fought tonight like a guy who, well, picked up an education in that Bellator MMA cage.
I'll tell you what, right now, these guys are sitting there going, oh my God, I hope I won, because this is going to be a rough one.
The reaction of the crowd just depends on how good the judges are. We hit him harder. As soon as I felt it, I was fucking fine. But that first round fucking was close. He hit us a couple of times.
Gutsy performances from both Mike Hamill, turned 29 August 12th, and for the 31-year-old Bryce Logan. And it looks like the 3 judges' scores have been tabulated. And let's go to Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of non-stop action, we go now to your 3 judges at cage side. Your first judge, Jared Vallel, scores the fight 30-27, while judges Sal D'Amato and Sean Rummel both see it the same, 29-28. I'll have it for the winner by unanimous decision, Magic Mike Hamill.
Jubilation, exhilaration, relief for Magic Mike Hamill, snapping a 2-fight losing streak and picking up his first Bellator MMA triumph. It wasn't easy, but he is loving every single second. Let's go to Big John.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with the winner, Mike Hamill. Mike, you came into Bellator. They put you through Murderer's Row. You went through Adam Boric, Usman Nurmagomedov, and now Bryce Logan. but this fight showed exactly what makes you who you are. Your pressure was incredible.
Thank you. You know, this sport will beat you down. It'll break your heart. I've thought about quitting more than I'm proud to admit, but just on the other side of doubt and fear is greatness. And this is the start of a 10-fight win streak. I'm gonna fuck this division up.
Well, I'll tell you what, that first round, you were really putting an incredible amount of pressure on Bryce. He was having a hard time figuring it out. You had great takedowns, I think 5 takedowns in the first round. He did hit you in the second round with a straight left. Did it hurt you or did it surprise you?
No, it was bad footwork on my part. My coaches are always yelling at me to carry my feet when I'm punching. And you know, I get a little fatigued and I get over that lead foot like a wrestler. That was bad footwork, it didn't hurt.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was an outstanding performance. Congratulations on your first win here in Bellator. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Magic Mike Hamill.
Anything good is on the other side of hard. Mike Hamill will testify to that. A hard-fought victory. He improves to 8-5 overall. And now 1-2 here in Bellator MMA. Our final preliminary fight for Bellator 265 from the Sanford Pentagon is coming up after this.
Boxing's most polarizing figure has silenced all his opponents. But his next test is his toughest.
Fighter selected, Tyron Woodley.
A combat sports legend with expert striking. Now, the fight critics said Jake Paul should never take
Jake Paul
is here. Who wants it more? Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley, Sunday, August 29th, live on pay-per-view.
The new Bellator MMA app is here. New look, new features, new fights. Watch live weigh-ins and prelims. Share your fight picks. Earn points and badges as you rank up to the heavyweight division. And stay up to date on events, rankings, and news. For all of the latest features, download the new Bellator MMA app. Available on the Apple Store and Google Play.
Prepare for impact. Kongo KO! Hard-hitting Czech Kongo is on the hunt for a title shot. There's the power! When he squares off against seismic striker Sergey Kharitonov. Oh, big shot! Who's got the goods in this quest for heavyweight supremacy? Brace for the impact. Bellator MMA live tonight on Showtime, where warriors rule.
Coming up Sunday, August 29th, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, live on Showtime pay-per-view. Internet sensation turned fighting sensation Jake Paul welcomes former MMA champion Tyron Woodley to the boxing ring. It's an incredible night of combat sports excitement. Who knows what's going to happen Sunday, August 29th. Oh, and by the way, Jake Paul, he's put together a hit list.
Jake Paul's hit list. Gibb, done. Nate Robinson, done. Ben Askren, done. Tyron Woodley, August 29th. Canelo, scared. Nate or Nick Diaz, whichever one wants it. Kamaru, Disney Channel, Usman. Timmy Fury, Conor McGregor, KSI, Gervonta Davis, Floyd's son, and maybe Logan Paul. Question mark. I'll see y'all August 29th, because next up is Tyron Woodley.
The problem child's put together quite the list.
Why does he have a question mark next to the only guy that's his size and his brother? He's got Gervonta Davis. He's 130 pounds. They call him Tank. He's not that big.
Well, Jake Paul has proven to be a big disruptive force. The dawn of disruption will face Tyron Woodley. That's coming up on Showtime pay-per-view Sunday, August 29th. Coming your way at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on Showtime tonight. It is Bellator 265 main event. Number 3 ranked heavyweight Czech Kongo clashes with Sergey Kharitonov and Logan Storley. South Dakota's own Logan Storley will take on Dante Skiro in Skiro's Bellator MMA debut. With more on our co-feature, here is Gareth A. Davies.
Logan Storley makes a return to his home state in a welterweight bout against fellow American Dante Skiro, looking to impress against the Bellator debutant. They say pressure makes diamonds, and the highly ranked South Dakotan Storley thrives under the bright lights. The highly decorated wrestler is looking to bounce back from his lone career defeat last time out to current Bellator welterweight champion Yaroslav Amosov, so he'll want to use that local support to his advantage and turn this into a gem of a performance. Skiro, meanwhile, a Wisconsin native, record 8 wins, 2 losses, makes his Bellator debut on the back of 2 victories outside the promotion, of course, one by submission and one by ground and pound, both in which he was the underdog. So we might say this is Storley's fight to lose, and he is a massive favourite. But this is MMA, and we have come to expect the unexpected. Storley won't want that storyline tonight.
All right, Gareth, thank you very much. Logan Storley, Dante Skiro, coming up later tonight. Live on Showtime and live right here, right now, our final preliminary fight of the night. The middleweights are on deck. Taylor Johnson ready to tangle with Fabio Aguiar in the Bellator MMA cage.
And now set to make his way to the cage, Fabio Aguiar.
33-year-old Fabio Aguiar hopes that he does possess the eye of the tiger tonight. He's won 9 of his last 10 fights, made his Bellator debut at Bellator 255. He lost to Khalid Murtazalia via unanimous decision. And John, he said, and you know, you got to admire an honest guy. He says, I did everything wrong in preparation, but he's fixed that now because he's now a member of Team Pitbull Brothers.
Well, he's got the full game. He's a BJJ black belt. He's got an outstanding stand-up game where he's got heavy power in his hands. He's got a beautiful low calf kick where he can destroy a guy's legs. So when you're looking at that, I didn't think he did that bad. There was times when he allowed Murtazalia to control the fight. That's what, in the end, got him in a position where he couldn't make it up. But this guy's got the full package.
I know it's standard at most to maybe train twice a day. He was training 7 times a day before he hooked up with Team Pitbull Brothers.
How do you do that? 7 times a day.
I could say, hey, maybe 7 times a week for me is pushing it. 7 times a day, wow. Anyway, Fabio Aguiar hopes it's a new day for him here in his MMA career as he gets set to take on Taylor Johnson.
And now his opponent making his way to the cage, Tombstone, Taylor Johnson.
All smiles, Taylor Tombstone Johnson, 2-1 in Bellator, both wins via submission. The 30-year-old went to Southern Oregon University, where he was an NAIA National Wrestling Champion at 197 pounds in 2015. And you won't be surprised, John, to find out that his biggest strength is wrestling. And no, Tombstone doesn't want to be your huckleberry. Did I pronounce it correctly?
You did. It's a huckleberry, not a huckleberry. Nice job. Look, Tombstone is the real deal. This guy is a wrestler, but he learned his leg lock game from a guy that you know well named Dean Lister. This guy is dangerous when you get into a scramble situation. He proved that against Ed Ruth, a 3-time NC2A champion from Penn State who tapped out to his leg lock.
Dean Lister, Ricardo Arona, the rematch of that incredible ADCC matchup went down in Pride Fighting Championships. That's all I'll say about that as we actually go to some highlights.
This is against Ed Ruth. Taylor Johnson has got a very good knowledge of the leg lock game. You see him switching up. He goes to the heel hook, and once those legs are in place, your knee is going to blow up. Taylor Johnson understands positioning. He's got great base when he takes the back. This guy is good everywhere. He's physically strong. He's mentally tough. He's got good stand-up. He's got a good wrestling game. Taylor Johnson is just fun to watch.
All 7 wins via knockout or submission. 6 of 7 of his victories have come in the first round. He has a knockout win in just 8 seconds, another in 36, and his Bellator debut over Ed Ruth was just 59 seconds. Speaking of numbers, John.
A lot of big numbers there from Aguiar with a 17-2 record compared to 7-2 for Taylor Johnson. But these guys match up very well. We're going to see who's going to take this one.
A man who matches up very well with a microphone is Michael C. Williams.
Here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, we get set now to conclude tonight's prelims here at Bellator 265 as we go to 3 5-minute rounds in the middleweight division. Introducing the blue corner first. At 6 foot, weighing in 184.6 pounds. His professional record, 17 wins, 2 losses, hailing from Recife, Pernambuco, Brazil, presenting Fabio Aguiar. And across the cage, his adversary fighting out of the red corner at 5 foot 11, weighing in 185.8 pounds as a professional. 7 victories, 2 losses, fighting out of Sisters, Oregon, Tombstone, Taylor Johnson. In charge of referee Jason Herzog.
So our final preliminary bout here at Sanford Pentagon. Taylor Johnson, Fabio Aguiar. Middleweight action begins right now. The bell, round 1, Johnson in the red gloves, Aguiar in the blue gloves. Johnson told us that his biggest advantages over Aguiar would be that he's faster, a better striker and grappler. He actually said, you know what, if the opportunity arises, for sure I'll go for my first knockout win in Bellator. 5 of his 7 wins have come via his striking.
Right now you're watching Taylor Johnson just be nice and calm, relaxed, looking at what Aguiar is going to bring. Aguiar keeps going straight back. He's going to be in trouble.
And he ate that head kick before Aguiar looking for the takedown. But now it's Johnson looking for the choke.
This choke is based upon that head kick. That stunned him a little bit. He's trying to fight it off. You see him using his hands to put the pressure down. He's got himself past that choke right now, but that was a big knee.
Big knee by Johnson. Another knee to Aguiar, and now Johnson putting the squeeze on Aguiar. Johnson has a rear naked choke and an inverted heel hook on his resume.
Right now, that was a nice set of knees that you saw from Taylor Johnson. He's in the position now. You see he's got the underhook, so he has the advantage right now in this position. Pressing Aguiar up against the cage. He is the superior wrestler, so the question is, does he take him down, or does he continue to do the work in the clinch game that he's been doing?
And in a way, maybe Aguiar hopes that he continues to try to just grind here, because in a way, he feels that Johnson's cardio will become an issue. He feels that he fades after first round. I don't think he can bank on that, but that's what he told us.
Well, you know, if that's the way he feels, he needs to do something to put the pressure on Johnson so he's not comfortable, because if Johnson's the one in control of the pace, he's not going to get tired.
Now it's Aguiar with Johnson along the fence, but Johnson able to keep moving. Under 3 minutes remaining here in the opening round.
Aguiar right now in a position with double unders. He's the one in control of this at this moment. Doing a good job of using his head, keeping Tombstone with his face off to the side. It's going to make him a little bit weaker.
Aguiar began training MMA at 18, actually spent time in the Brazilian army training dogs, and this one could turn into a dogfight. Midway point of the opening frame, and battle of attrition along the fence.
And people watch this and think, oh, they're really not doing anything. This is grueling. Grueling work by both guys. That head position you see Aguiar with, it's frustrating for Johnson, and all those little shots that Johnson is hitting Aguiar with. He's trying to use the wizard right now.
And Johnson feeding Aguiar a couple of right hands with 2 minutes left.
Aguiar doing a good job of sagging back. He's got the arms around the waist on Tombstone, holding that position.
Johnson speaks about the fact that being calm is key. He seems to be calm under the pressure and fire that Aguiar's trying to disseminate, but good turnaround.
Yeah, nice dig of the underhook by Taylor Johnson, switching that position. Being calm in a fight is everything. If you are not calm, you're burning energy at an excessive rate. That will get you tired, and that will get you in trouble.
And now head kick blocked by Aguiar as Johnson resets.
You can see what you were talking about earlier. Aguiar believing that Johnson's going to tire out. He's putting pressure on him in an attempt to make him uncomfortable and make that become something that happens.
Final minute of the first round scramble, and now it's Johnson on Aguiar's back. Aguiar with more experience, 17-2 coming into this fight. He's 0-1 in the Bellator MMA cage. We mentioned the loss in his last outing, going to a decision in April.
Going for the leg lock. Nice job by Aguiar to actually stuff that. Taylor did not get deep enough to make that happen. Now he's underneath him in a position where he's now got his hips not engaged with his opponent. This is not an easy thing to get out of. Nice job of moving himself. Now he's in half guard. He's going to have to work his way out.
State known for fuel and energy, and a lot of it being burned out here in the first 5 minutes in this middleweight matchup between Taylor Johnson and Fabio Aguiar. They exchange kicks, and wow, what a wind-up at the bell by Johnson, and they exchange, well, some pleasantries after the hostility.
That was a fastball that went just a little bit outside. Here comes the head kick. If you remember, Taylor Johnson brings this kick up. That landed, was the end of the toes, end of the foot, so it didn't have all the power that it would have had if it was towards that foot or shin. With that knee right there, bringing the knee up inside, he landed a lot of good shots against. That was a nice high kick. A lot of good shots by Taylor Johnson. No doubt about that round. Taylor Johnson took it. Aguiar is putting pressure. We'll see if that starts to make a difference in the second.
How did your unofficial scorecard read? Let me look at it over there.
Like I just said, Taylor Johnson took that round.
Oh, I didn't listen. Sorry, I was being told something.
You never listened to it.
Well, I was listening to it in my head. I apologize. I was moral tasking. Big job. Good. All right, round
just
two
a reminder
is upon us. Fabio Aguiar, will his prediction come true? Did Taylor Johnson expend too much energy in that first 5 minutes? It was a grueling round.
Aguiar coming back out with that same pressure, trying to push Taylor Johnson, make him work. He's got a game plan and he's sticking to it.
Now Aguiar trying to put the pressure on, but Johnson able to roam freely here on the sprawling plains of the Bellator MMA cage in South Dakota. Oh, nice 1-2 executed by Aguiar.
One thing about the MMA cage, there is a lot of acreage for you to move within, and so it's hard to cut someone off.
And speaking of cut, beautiful right there delivered by Taylor Johnson.
Taylor Johnson again bringing that kick up. Aguiar in on the hips. He's got those hands clasped together, so he's got this takedown. The real question is, what position can he put Taylor into where he can start to do damage?
For Aguiar, he does have 5 submission wins. And as he has Johnson's back, he does have 2 rear naked chokes, but Johnson back on his feet. Minute and a half gone in the second. Level changed by Aguiar.
Level changed by Aguiar, but he did not get where he wanted to be. And a lot of that was based upon the cage.
And there's blood now on the back of Johnson, which is telling you where it's coming from.
There you go. Aguiar needs to let go of that leg. He is not in a position to hold on to that. You see that leg that Johnson, okay, good job by Aguiar to get his leg free from Johnson's. Right now, kind of stuck with his arm underneath the right leg of Taylor Johnson. Nice job of Taylor Johnson. He's working to take the back here.
And the blood isn't flowing out of his nose like Sioux Falls, but it is trickling out of the nose of Fabio Aguiar.
Taylor Johnson kind of looking for a twister here. He's trying to set up that arm.
Seeing the buggy choke. We're going to see a twister into what's happening here.
There's a whole lot of techniques going on here. But right now, that cage and where the positioning of Aguiar's head, it is not going to work out for him right now. You see him trying to control that arm.
So many techniques, John.
So many. And there's so many ways to attack your opponent in MMA. That's what makes it so special. You see Aguiar trying to move himself into that. His leg is stuck. So right now, because of his left leg being in the position it is, now he can turn his hips. He should have turned his hips. Taylor Johnson goes back to controlling that leg.
Get the other hook to the right side. Go under the arm.
Aguiar, who, again, now setting up shop at Team Pitbull Brothers for Taylor Johnson.
This is normally a position we talked about, getting your head high. Taylor Johnson was never able to get his head up off of that mat, which made it to where Aguiar was able to spin inside his guard. Now he's in the top position.
And Johnson, of course, training in the Pacific Northwest.
Fabiano Skurner coaching out of American Top Team Portland. Outstanding coach. Got a lot of top talent coming out of that area. But this is not the position that Taylor Johnson ever wants to be in. So what it is saying is that Fabio Aguiar is starting to make his game plan work. He's starting to wear Taylor Johnson down, and he's starting to take advantage of positions in this fight. Now being in the guard, Taylor Johnson needs to open that guard and start to either put foot on hips, swing towards an arm bar submission. He's got to do something. He can't sit here and keep his back on the mat.
Aguiar started training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at 14, is a BJJ black belt with 5 of his 17 victories coming via submission, but now putting the pressure from top position in the closed guard, and now Johnson is controlling the posture, but even when Aguiar was able to separate, it was Johnson trying to deliver elbows from the bottom. Well, conditioning will be tested as we head to the third and final round. 10 seconds left here in the second. Fabio Aguiar from the guard of Taylor Johnson. Some ground and pound as Johnson able to scramble to his feet before the bell. Okay, I'm going to listen to you now. I'm going to listen this time, John. How do you have it after 10 minutes?
Right now, I have this fight. I have it even. I think that Aguiar, using his game plan, is starting to wear Taylor Johnson out. He got into some positions where Taylor was able to do some work, but I thought Aguiar overall did the best.
One-on-one in rounds. Okay, you gotta manage to win this one. So you're gonna strike and keep the fight on your feet. But now you're walking through the fence. You can't have your back on the fence. Okay, you gotta get the center.
You're seeing Aguiar having his nose worked on. Watch what happens here. When he's taking Johnson down, his face scrapes down against the cage, and that's what made his nose have a problem there.
got it, Goff. You're good? Making sure.
You know, the cage is meant for the fighter's safety, really, to keep them inside.
Been dangerous
This has happened in the Bellator cage twice now because Jason Jackson hurt his eye against Neiman Gracie.
He's here tonight watching.
He is.
But you're right, so the cage is becoming a foe. All right. Hugging it out before they slug it out.
I thought it was a good, nice big right hand.
Taylor Johnson on cue, unloading the heavy artillery on Fabio Aguiar.
I thought it was a very good move by Taylor Johnson's coach, Fabiano Scrivener. He told him, you lost that round, you need to go get this one.
And he just got chopped down with that low outside leg kick by Aguiar, and Aguiar back on top position.
Right now, when you're slippery and everything, you just need to be careful of his neck here. But this is the time he's got to get up off of the ground. Do not wait. Don't let time slip by. Nice job by Taylor Johnson getting back to his feet. Goes for the wizard. Now he's in the top position. That was a beautiful reversal of positions.
Nice explosive reversal by Johnson. A minute gone here in the final frame. Our final fight of the preliminary portion of our card from Sanford, Pentagon in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Bellator 265 coming up at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, live on Showtime. A quartet of confrontations culminating with a heavyweight tilt between Czech Kongo and Sergey Kharitonov as Johnson works his way.
He's got the back. He's trying to kick that leg out. Aguiar doing a nice job getting himself back to his feet. Taylor Johnson shooting in for that single, but he does not want to sit here in this position. He needs to swing his head out to the side, start getting himself back up. Aguiar landed nothing of any kind of power, any kind of significance with the elbows there and the punches. But Taylor Johnson being underneath him, just sitting there, is telling you he is tired.
We talk about the experience on display in our main event later tonight between Kongo and Kharitonov. Of course, our current middleweight champion, none other than Gegard Mousasi, successfully defending the title against John Salter 1 week ago. And that's the journey that both Johnson and Aguiar would like to one day be a part of, that championship journey. But there's a long road to hoe, as they say, Mr. McCarthy.
Yes, there is. To get into those nether regions of that atmosphere.
Midway through the final round.
Aguiar right now, he wants to get rid of that right arm and come around the back of Taylor Johnson. Taylor should at least do something as far as getting himself back to his feet, sit out. He needs to move. He cannot stay here.
His coach, as you mentioned, Fabiano Scrivener, there was a sense of urgency. And yet, Fabio Aguiar putting all of his weight, which,
look, he's carrying that weight, and that just exhausts you. There's a lot of pressure there. Everyone looks and goes, oh, it's no big deal. Really put a guy that's 200+ pounds on top of you, putting a lot of pressure with his hips. You'll see it's not easy to breathe. It's not a comfortable position.
Now, the impetus obviously is on Johnson to try to improve his fortunes. What about for Fabio Aguiar?
Well, right now, Fabio Aguiar is trying to keep his feet back and his legs back so Johnson can't make this single leg that he's trying to get in on work. The cage has worked against him a little bit, but again, he needs to come around the side just like you're seeing right now to get the back.
And that's exactly what he does, is they're back up on their feet. As it looked like Jason Herzog, one of the best referees on the circuit today, was looking to be standing them up, but Johnson said, don't worry, I got this, ref. But does he got this? Because Fabio Aguiar putting all kinds of suffocating pressure on Johnson here in the final round. In the final minute now, John.
You're absolutely right. It has been the pressure of Fabio Aguiar that has been the difference now in the last couple rounds. Nice roll, gravity roll through for Johnson. And again, look at Aguiar come out in the top position.
I gotta say, during these prelims tonight, we've seen some interesting techniques that are obviously a part of the sport, but we rarely get to witness, and I think here in the prelims, it's when you have to showcase the hunger, when you have to showcase the willingness to take chances and try to catch the eye of the promoter.
Absolutely. What you're doing is you're in that preliminary rule, but you want to be on the main card.
Yes.
You want to get to that position where you're the guy that's on that poster.
Unfortunately, Taylor Johnson's been unable to really get into a dominant position in this round against Fabio Aguiar.
Yeah, he had a couple moments there. I love the Grammy roll he did trying to get through, but he's ended up in the same position, and he's accepted it. That hasn't been good. Very good fight. Very smart fight by Fabio Aguiar. Tough fight by Taylor Johnson. He did a lot of good things in this fight. He landed some big shots. It's going to be interesting which way the judges see this.
And regardless of the outcome for Fabio Aguiar, obviously a move to Team Pitbull Brothers has improved his stocking, and it speaks highly to what Patricio and Patricky have done, not only for their fighters, but for the sport and for the promotion of Bellator MMA.
Oh, they've been fantastic. You take a look at everything they've accomplished and the fact that their school, all the people that go there get better. That is saying something about the training they do, the emphasis on technique, and that's what you saw today.
And meanwhile, Fabiano Skerner has done a great job of producing high-level fighters out of the Pacific Northwest, including Taylor Johnson.
Guys like Austin Vanderford, Paige Van Zandt, all of them coming out of that area with Fabiano.
Vanderford will challenge Gegard Mousasi for the Bellator MMA middleweight championship. So here we are in the middleweight division, at 11-0 as we take a look at the stats from what was 15 minutes of fighting between Taylor Johnson and Fabio Aguiar.
And this is what we're talking. This started taking over in the second round with that pressure. Look at the strike difference, 49. Look at the ground control, the takedowns. It's going to Aguiar. And that's why I thought he won the fight.
As much of a mental fight as a physical one when you got all that pressure on you. So we await the official decision. Will Taylor Johnson improve to 8-2 and 3-1 in Bellator, or will Fabio Aguiar make it 18-2 overall and pick up his first victory here in Bellator? Has there been enough of delay to say split decision yet, John?
You know what? I hate to say that. That's you. When someone has a hard time adding, I'm going, oh, come on.
I believe there's now, you know, we set the clock. Okay, wait a minute. How much time are they taking? Usually means. What does it usually mean? Well, we're about to find out what it means in this instance as we are ready with the official decision. Here is Michael C. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, having gone the distance, we'll go to your three judges at cage side. Your first judge, Michael Bell, scores the fight 29-28. He sees the fight for Aguiar. Your second judge, Sean Rummel, scores the fight 29-28. He sees the fight for Johnson. Your third and final judge at cage side, Ron McCarthy, scores the fight 29-28 for the winner by split decision, Fabio Aguiar.
Well, Fabio Aguiar, hard-fought fight. They both are, again, exchanging all the respect. They forged respect after going 15 hard minutes. Ed Suarez there celebrating with Fabio Aguiar. And did someone say split decision before going to Michael C. Williams? What'd you think of the result? And yeah, I know your son, Ron McCarthy, doing a fantastic job as always. What do you think of his scoring of this fight?
Well, let's just be honest. You had Mike Bell and Ron McCarthy going with a 29-28 for Fabio Aguiar. Those are guys that do big fights all over this country. You had the local initial judge that went with Taylor Johnson, he just doesn't understand the scoring the way it's supposed to be. Enough right now, just needs a little bit more information, and they're going to give him that information right now.
Well, the information that matters to Fabio Aguiar is the victory. Picks up his first win here in Bellator MMA. The prelims are over, but we are just getting started. Coming up live on Showtime at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, Bellator 265, the main event. Number 3 ranked heavyweight Kongo takes on the always dangerous Sergey Kharitonov. Logan Storey looks to bounce back from his first career setback in his home state of South Dakota against Bellator MMA newcomer Dante Skiro. Marcelo Gome meets Billy Swanson in heavyweight action, and the undefeated Jornel Lugo meets Keith Lee in our opener. We'll see you at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on Showtime.
Prepare for impact. Hard-hitting Kongo is on the hunt for a title shot. There's the power! When he squares off against seismic striker Sergey Kharitonov. Oh, big shot! Who's got the goods in this quest for heavyweight supremacy? Brace for the impact. Bellator MMA live tonight on Showtime, where warriors rule.
The new Bellator MMA app is here. New look, new features, new fights. Watch live weigh-ins and prelims. Share your fight picks. Earn points and badges as you rank up to the heavyweight division. And stay up to date on events, rankings, and news. For all of the latest features, download the new Bellator MMA app. Available on the Apple Store and Google Play.
Tonight's Fight Clock presented by Geico. Red gloves for the Maori Kid, J.J. Wilson, Sergio Dabari, 33 years old, in the blue gloves. Southpaw again. Oh! Big right shot right away. It is all over, just like that.
Watch this straight right. Well, looped over, boom, right on the jawline. You see Dabari, he's stunned. Boom, there it comes. There, he is out, unconscious.
Coming up next, after the main event. Oh,
right, that hurt me.
Wow, you
that
can hear
right
it.
there, man, that hurts. And the damage it's doing. Oh,
he took a couple extra blows only because of the quickness of what occurred. What an unbelievable finish by Adam Bourne. Boom! Look at that knee. As soon as it connected, he was out. Switches, boom! Right behind the ear. Beautiful knockout by Adam Borsch. What an explosion.
Bell and round number 2, and immediately Wilson with a spinning back fist, battling Carvalho, and Wilson is all over Carvalho. The Maori Kid mauling Carvalho at the start of the second round.
Carvalho is in deep trouble. He is still rocked here. He's trying to grab hold. That is smart on his part, but he needs to get his head out of that position.
Carvalho has been stopped due to strikes twice in his fight, including in his last outing, losing his first fight here in Bellator to Patricio Pitbull, but he seems to have, well, attempted to recover, now looking for that takedown, but the elbows continue to come from Wilson.
His elbows are coming, and Pedro is still rocked. Look at him step over for that mount position.
Full mount achieved by J.J. Wilson.
Fight out of there.
Ground and pound. Wilson looking for his 8th consecutive win, and he gets it in round 2. The biggest triumph of his career. J.J. Wilson is the truth.
Watch the start of this round. Boom! There goes a spinning back fist. It was more the forearm that caught him, but it still hurt Pedro Carvalho. You could see him get rattled by that shot. You see JJ, once he steps over, he's got that arm in position. He opens up from the mount. You see Carvalho trying to stop all of the shots. He gets to that side, and when you see the side, referees don't like to see a guy floundering with his legs up in the air, taking shots, unable to stop those shots, and that's why Kevin McDonald comes in and puts an end to this contest.
The second round, and Boric is going to have to try to find a way to get back to his feet and create separation.
He does need to create separation.
He's all over him like a spray tan.
He's got that good tan from Florida. Come on, man.
A minute 13 now left, and there's that head kick, and now there's the knee! There's the knee! Caught him! Boric just caught Pico with the knee! Boric defeats Eric Pico! Mamma mia! Oh my God! Incredible turn of events here in Madison Square Garden. Pico got dropped with that left knee.
That was a huge shot. He's starting to try to defend himself, but he's unable to stop what Adam does. That shot right there, look at his arms. Flops down, he is out at that moment.
You guys watching at home, what you want to do is you want to be able to see Mario wants to stay on the side where the arm was underneath his armpit, because that side he can't, it's harder to be choked on. For JJ, he wanted to keep him on that choking side. He starts to reach it.
It is all over! J.J. Wilson remains unbeaten.
Take a look at this finish. Has the back, and you see him. Allowed Mario to move up. He's just sitting, waiting to move that into an armbar. Gets himself in position, pushes the hand away. Look at control of the head, extends the arm. Beautiful. Armbar submission. Look at that extension, Josh. Controlling the wrist.
There's some hammer fist by Boric. Less than 30 seconds left in the round. Boric looking to close the show. Curran shutting up, blocking. Hammer fist by Boric. And Curran, the veteran, trying to neutralize the youngster, trying to survive the round.
Curran blocking a lot of those blows, but some of them are getting through.
A lot of them are getting through, but now the wing blocking.
Back in there, Pat, keep moving.
And Boric just drop beating up Curran.
Here comes Adam Borch's flying knee. Watch him bring that left knee up. Boom. It touches him. I don't think it hurt him that bad, but he was already being pushed back. But systematically, Borch starts landing these shots. He's blocking a lot of them, but some get through, and when it's hitting the glove, and the glove is against his head, it's still rattling his brain. You see the heavy elbows down here? He's starting to change what Pat Curran was doing. Then he becomes nothing more than a guy accepting damage. And that's why you hear Frank Trigg say you got to fight back. He doesn't see it, and he made up his mind that he was stopping the fight just as the bell rang. You see exactly what we're talking about. George Warrens explodes to get out of that, and you see J.J. Wilson just allowing it to ride, going after the Kimura right here,
looking for another first-round finish.
See him now bringing that arm up. Warren's got the arm. He's going to try to control that arm with his leg. Unable to do it. Going after the rear naked choke now. It's over.
It is all over, just like that.
Takes the back. Looks for the Kimura grip here. Starts to put pressure on him, brings him over. Tried to lock up the arm, wasn't able to, but it didn't matter. Brings his arm across and gets that rear naked choke that he is so good with. You can see how tight that squeeze is. No hand for you to grab. Can't unlock it. You are done.
Yeah, nice.
Beautiful change of levels by Silva getting down there. He had a nice combination to open up Borsch, then change level, but he's in trouble here. Borsch has got great position, and he's got that in time. That's tight, Mike.
And it's all over! Adam Borsch with the submission victory! Wow!
You see, Jose Aldo Silva goes for the takedown. Those elbows hurt, and he stops. And when you stop in a fight and your opponent's moving, you're going to lose positions. He loses it. We get the hooks in by Adam Borsch. That choke is deep. That rear naked choke is set. There's nothing he can do. You see that hand locked behind. It's a little bit on his head, but he was not going to get that pass. Great job by Adam Borsch.
5th career win by submission. Kongo staying tight and throwing.
Let's go. Go.
All defense played by Eric Smith. All offense from Czech Kongo.
Oh, that's a good right hand.
Big knee now from Kongo.
And if Kongo turns it on here, he can get the stoppage. That's it.
And there it is. John McCarthy has seen enough.
Look at these knee strikes. Blocking, but it doesn't matter. That power still transfers and gets through. That right hand, that was the beginning of the end. I think John McCarthy saw that that punch hurt him. Eric Smith just covering up here. Like I said, it weren't big fight-ending shots, but the sequence. He never let Eric Smith back in the fight. Good stoppage.
Even a warning of a stand-up from Anderson.
And that's the appropriate call. Czech Kongo staying very busy here.
No question. Look at the activity with the right hand. Kongo just missing with that elbow. Now for the rear naked choke is Czech Kongo.
And he's under the neck. This might be over. It is.
And there's the tap.
From the mount, sat up to unload. LeVar Johnson trying to take advantage, but ended up exposing his back. And look at the left arm here. The left hook not even in. Doesn't matter. They call it the lion killer for a reason. Once it's locked on, not a lot you can do but tap.
7 by knockout, 2 by submission. And he's coming off the first round finish, as I mentioned earlier, of Javier Ayala. He was in a really good mood, John, when we visited with him a couple of days ago. Said he feels great. He's working harder than he has ever worked. And, of course, training partner with Rampage, who's coming off his victory over the Axe Murderer.
Well, you could take a look at Kongo and you can realize, well, he's an athlete, no doubt about it. But it's a bad position for Tim Johnson.
And it is all over, just like that.
Tim Johnson goes at him. He gets stunned with a shot that actually glances off the top of his head, ends up underneath him, takes a couple more shots. Referee comes in, stops it. He's not defending himself. You take big shots from a big man like Czech Kongo, they are gonna hurt. Position here, you see him open up. His head is trapped. Arm is trapped by his leg. Not responding. That's why Todd Anderson stops the fight.
So many knees landing now here in round number 2 from Czech Kongo.
They're starting to wear Godbeer down. That one hurt him.
Godbeer in all sorts of trouble now. Shooting for this single leg in desperation. Kongo continuing to throw.
And just bullying him into the fence here. Oh, that's a big knee.
Kongo just unloading with those knees. That is it!
Against the fence, look at the knees. That one to the gut. Those hurt Godbeer for sure, but that one was the beginning of the end to me. Up against the fence, these last 2 to the knee. Look at the head snap back. Those knees to the chin. Look at it again, bang. That head pops up. You know how hard he's hitting him with that shot. That one, that right knee right to the chin. That was all she wrote. The rest are just icing on the cake, Sean.
And what people want to see is performance. I try to tell fighters all the time, I know you want to win, but you got to perform.
And so far, we have seen Javier Ayala trying to push the pace, trying to create a fight, while Czech Kongo content to just neutralize Javier Ayala.
It is exactly what he's doing. It's a perfect analysis of it.
There's a kick from Kongo. And over.
Oh, big shot. He's hurt.
There's the power. Straight right hand. Down goes Ayala. Well, take that. He just put Hamill in airplane mode.
Watch this. Javi comes in. Look at the right hand loading up. Boom! Wow. Straight in. That jars your senses, puts him on his back, straight down. There's no response. Kongo comes down to try to finish him. Josh Rosenthal sees enough, stops the fight. Look at that right hand. And you see, it's that traumatic shock that you see out of Javi Ayala. Watch his ears.
Well, listen, hey, watch his ears.
Boom. You see that little jiggle, that's what does it.
He hit him on the ear, and his ears were burning because he was hearing me talk about the fact that he wasn't the most exciting heavyweight in Bellator. Well, wait a minute. He is a scintillating performer tonight.
The new Bellator MMA app is here. New look, new features, new fights. Watch live weigh-ins and prelims. Share your fight picks. Earn points and badges as you rank up to the heavyweight division and stay up to date on events, rankings, and news. For all of the latest features, download the new Bellator MMA app. Available on the Apple Store and Google Play.
Tonight's Fight Clock presented by Geico. Red gloves for the Maori kid, J.J. Wilson, Sergio Dabari. 33 years old in the blue gloves. Southpaw again. Oh! Big right shot right away. It is all over. Just like that.
Watch this straight right. Well, looped over. Boom. Right on the jawline. You see Dabari, he's stunned. Boom, there it comes. There, he is out, unconscious.
Coming up next, after the main event. Oh,
right, that hurt me.
Wow, you
that right there, man, that hurts. And the damage it's doing. Oh, that short knee hit him. Look, he was out, standing up, went down, out. He took a couple extra blows only because of the quickness of what occurred. What an unbelievable finish by Adam Bourne. Boom! Look at that knee. As soon as it connected, he was out. Switches, boom! Right behind the ear. Beautiful knockout by Adam Bourne. What an explosion.
Bell and round number 2, and immediately Wilson with a spinning back fist, rattling Carvalho, and Wilson is all over Carvalho. The Maori kid mauling Carvalho at the start of the second round.
Carvalho is in deep trouble. He is still rocked here. He's trying to grab hold. That is smart on his part, but he needs to get his head out of that position.
Carvalho has been stopped due to strikes twice in his fight, including in his last outing, losing his first fight here in Bellator to Patricio Pitbull, but he seems to have, well, attempted to recover, now looking for that takedown, but the elbows continue to come from Wilson.
His elbows are coming, and Pedro is still rocked. Look at him step over for that mount position.
Full mount achieved by J.J. Wilson.
Fight out of there.
Ground and pound. Wilson looking for his 8th consecutive win, and he gets it in round 2. The biggest triumph of his career. J.J. Wilson is the truth.
Watch the start of this round. Boom! There goes a spinning back fist. It was more the forearm that caught him, but it still hurt Pedro Carvalho. You could see him get rattled by that shot. You see JJ, once he steps over, he's got that arm in position. He opens up from the mount. You see Carvalho trying to stop all of the shots. He gets to that side, and when you see the side, referees don't like to see a guy floundering with his legs up in the air, taking shots, unable to stop those shots, and that's why Kevin McDonald comes in and puts an end to this contest.
The second round, and Boric is going to have to try to find a way to get back to his feet and create separation.
He does need to create separation.
He's all over him like a spray tan.
He's got that good tan from Florida. Come on, man.
A minute 13 now left, and there's that head kick, and now there's the knee! There's the knee! Caught him! Boric just caught Pico with the knee! Boric defeats Eric Pico! Mamma mia! Oh my God! Incredible turn of events here at Madison Square Garden.
Look at the way he drops.
Pico got dropped with that left knee.
That was a huge shot. He's starting to try to defend himself, but he's unable to stop what Adam does. That shot right there, look at his arms. Flops down, he is out at that moment.
You guys watching at home, what you want to do is you want to be able to see Mario wants to stay on the side where the arm is underneath his armpit, because that side he can't, it's harder to be choked on. For JJ, he wanted to keep him on that choke side. He starts to reach it.
It is all over! J.J. Wilson remains unbeaten. Take a look at this finish. Has the back, and you see him. Allowed Mario to move up. He's just sitting, waiting to move that into an armbar. Gets himself in position, pushes the hand away. Look at control of the head, extends the arm. Beautiful. Armbar submission. Look at that extension, Josh. Controlling the wrist.
There's some hammer fist fight. Boric, less than 30 seconds left in the round. Boric looking to close the show. Curran shutting up, blocking. Hammer fist by Boric. And Curran, the veteran, trying to neutralize the youngster, trying to survive the round.
Curran blocking a lot of those blows, but some of them are getting through.
A lot of them are getting through, but now the wing blocking.
Back in the pack, keep moving.
And Boric just beating up Curran.
Here comes Adam Borch's flying knee. Watch him bring that left knee up. Boom. It touches him. I don't think it hurt him that bad, but he was already being pushed back. But systematically, Borch starts landing these shots. He's blocking a lot of them, but some get through, and when it's hitting the glove, and the glove is against his head, it's still rattling his brain. You see the heavy elbows down here. He's starting to change what Pat Curran was doing. Then he becomes nothing more than a guy accepting damage. And that's why you hear Frank Trigg say you got to fight back. He doesn't see it, and he made up his mind that he was stopping the fight just as the bell rang.
I mean, you see exactly what we're talking about. George Warnes explodes to get out of that, and you see J.J. Wilson just allowing it to ride, going after the Kimura right here, looking for another first-round finish.
See him now bringing that arm up. Warren's got the arm. He's going to try to control that arm with his leg. Unable to do it. Going after the rear naked choke now. It's over.
It is all over, just like that.
Takes the back. Looks for the Kimura grip here. Starts to put pressure on him, brings him over. Tried to lock up the arm, wasn't able to, but it didn't matter. Brings his arm across and gets that rear naked choke that he is so good with. You can see how tight that squeeze is. No hand for you to grab. Can't unlock it. You are done.
Yeah, nice. Beautiful change of levels by Silva getting down there. He had a nice combination to open up Borch, then change level, but he's in trouble here. Borch has got great position, and he's got that in time. That's tight, Mike. And it's all over! Adam Boric with the submission victory! Wow! You see, Jose Aldo Silva goes for the takedown. Those elbows hurt, and he stops. And when you stop in a fight, and your opponent's moving, you're gonna lose positions. He loses it. We get the hooks in by Adam Borch. That choke is deep. That rear naked choke is set. There's nothing he can do. You see that hand locked behind. It's a little bit on his head, but he was not gonna get that pass. Great job by Adam Borch. 5th career win by submission. Staying tight and throwing.
Let's go. Here we go.
All defense played by Eric Smith. All offense from Czech Kongo.
Oh, that's a good right hand.
Big knee now from Kongo.
And if Kongo turns it on here, he can get the stoppage. That's
and
it.
There it is. John McCarthy has seen enough.
Look at these knee strikes. Blocking, but it doesn't matter. That power still transfers and gets through. That right hand, that was the beginning of the end. I think John McCarthy saw that punch hurt him. Eric Smith just covering up here. Like I said, it weren't big fight-ending shots, but the sequence. He never let Eric Smith back in the fight. Good stoppage.
Not even a warning of a stand-up from Anderson.
And that's the appropriate call. Cheick Kongo staying very busy here.
No question. Look at the activity with the right hand. Kongo just missing with that elbow. Now for the rear naked choke is Cheick Kongo.
And he's under the neck. This might be over. It is.
And there's the tap.
From the mount, sat up to unload. LeVar Johnson trying to take advantage, but ended up exposing his back. And look at the left arm here. The left hook not even in. Doesn't matter. They call it the lion killer for a reason. Once it's locked on, not a lot you can do but tap.
7 by knockout, 2 by submission. And he's coming off the first round finish, as I mentioned earlier, of Javi Ayala. He was in a really good mood, John, when we visited with him a couple of days ago. Said he feels great. He's working harder than he has ever worked. And, of course, a training partner with Rampage, who's coming off his victory over the Axe Murderer.
Well, you could take a look at Kongo and you can realize, well, he's an athlete, no doubt about it. But it's a bad position for Tim Johnson.
And it is all over, just like that.
Tim Johnson goes at him. He gets stunned with a shot that actually glances off the top of his head, ends up underneath him, takes a couple more shots. Referee comes in, stops, and he's not defending himself. You take big shots from a big man like Cheick Kongo, they are gonna hurt. Position here, you see him open up. His head is trapped, arm is trapped by his leg, not responding. That's why Todd Anderson stops the fight.
So many knees landing now here in round number 2 from Cheick Kongo.
They're starting to wear Godbeer down. That one hurt him.
Godbeer in all sorts of trouble now, shooting for this single leg in desperation. Kongo continuing to throw.
It's just bullying him into the fence here. Oh, that's a big knee.
Kongo just unloading with those knees. That is it!
Against the fence, look at the knees. That one to the gut. Those hurt Godbeer for sure, but that one was the beginning of the end to me. Up against the fence, these last 2 to the knee. Look at the head snap back. Those knees to the chin. Look at it again, bang. That head pops up. You know how hard he's hitting him with that shot. That one, that right knee right to the chin. That was all she wrote. The rest are just icing on the cake, Sean.
And what people want to see is performance. I try to tell fighters all the time, I know you want to win, but you got to perform.
And so far, we have seen Javi Ayala trying to push the pace, trying to create a fight, while Cheick Kongo content to just neutralize Javi Ayala.
It is exactly what he's doing. It's a perfect analysis of it.
There's a kick from Kongo. And over.
Oh, big shot. He's hurt.
There's the power. Straight right hand. Down goes Ayala. And just like that, Cheick Kongo says, hey, I'm not exciting. I'm boring. Well, take that. He just put Javi Ayala in airplane mode.
Watch this. Javi comes in. Look at the right hand loading up. Boom. Straight in. That jars your senses, puts him on his back, straight down. There's no response. Kongo comes down to try to finish him. Josh Rosenthal sees enough, stops the fight. Look at that right hand. And you see, it's that traumatic shock that you see out of Javi Ayala. Watch his ears.
Well, listen, hey, watch his ears.